television online. Tonight, I have a guest whose area of passion, area of business in the art business. So he's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But before then, I want to say this program again will be coming. We might be making some changes, but we'll let you know in advance. So ordinarily, it's a program of 7 to 8 every Tuesday. And like I said, we are going to change it. We are going to let you know. It's becoming very, very popular. And the feedback is very, very important. Please, if you have any changes you want us to take into consideration, or you have a suggestion, do not hesitate to get in touch with Heritage Television Online. Tonight, my guest is one Nigerian who knows what exactly. He knows his onions. He does other businesses, but I'm going to get him to talk to you. To introduce himself. His name is Mr. Tayo Awokoya.
That's right.
Good evening, Mr. Tayo Awokoya.
Good evening.
Nice having you on the one-on-one with OtunbaHOO.
Nice to meet
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your area of occupation and?
Yes, but well, I consider myself an economic refugee first of all. But what I would say is that I started in insurance, and then I did a bit of banking, and then I came to work in the local authority here. I worked for Southern Council for like 10 years, and then since then I have gone back into art dealership. We're mainly art dealers. I put thinking in direction of tourism, and the website is Fun-Alejo, FUN-Alejo.com.
Okay, that's the name of your company.
That's the website address.
Okay,
yeah.
website.
Name of companies
Fun-Alejo.
That's right.
What does Fun-Alejo means?
For visitors.
Oh,
that's
for
in
visitors.
Yoruba. Yes.
Okay.
Yoruba. Yes.
All right.
Art in Updated is the name of the company.
Okay. So if anybody wants to know about arts business and all, they go to Fun-Alejo.
That's right.
Okay.
Fun-Alejo.com.
Okay. Yeah. All right. They will get all the information they might need.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
All right. Okay. Tonight I want to rub minds with you on some areas of concern. You started by saying economic refugee. What do you mean by that?
I've come back here to my motherland or my father because things in Nigeria are a bit rough. But I would say I actually stayed here because of my health. Stayed back because of the health. I mean, I would have loved to be in Nigeria, but Nigeria is getting worse on a daily basis. Every time you go there, you keep wondering. And, I mean, it's a place you want to retire, but as we speak, it's not getting any better.
I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope you are getting much better now. I hope everything is okay with you.
Yes.
But isn't that difficult to explain? If everybody is running away because of this reason, that reason, what do you think is going on?
I won't say we are running away. We're interested in getting Nigeria, but there are too many things wrong with that system, you know, and these things need to be fitted. We cannot continue to blame the colonialists or our emperors, the people who colonized us almost 50 years, 57 years after. There are too many things wrong. There are too many things wrong.
Well, explain. Can I ask you to expand on that? Because the thing is,
yes,
a lot of people, especially the people in government, have said every time you ask them or you discuss issues that's affecting the country, maybe because there's no light, because there's no this kind of thing, they say, oh, it was the way Nigeria is structured because 56 years ago when we got our independence, the colonial master did this, did that. You don't seem to agree with that.
No, I mean, there's something that's going on the internet which is talking about religion and India and religion and Nigeria, and what you see today in Nigeria is that religion is going into facets that it shouldn't go into. Everybody, any small thing, they go and see their pastor. Somebody wants to get married, he or she goes to see the pastor, things like that. Religion should have its own cubicle. And look at Nigeria. We have a president that is in his 80s or late 70s. He doesn't have enough ideas. And if 3/4 of today's wealth is being built through the brain, not from the ground, People are not extracting oil like before. And in another 5 years or less, nobody's going to take Nigeria's oil like before. It's going to be, it's going to be, I mean, one peanuts. So we need to allow the brain to work. And if you look at a lot of people who are singing songs today, most of the songs that are making parties live, they are Nigerian songs, and they were created in the darkness, in spite of the light, in spite of no power. These people have, our people have shown that they are willing to work. It's just government is suppressing everything.
You alluded to the age of the president. Isn't that also right that some other places in the world we have presidents who are in their 70s, 80s, even 90s?
It's all part of. It's all
what exactly is your problem, sir?
It's all part of the man's background. The man is a soldier. All he has known how to do was to fight. When he first came around, there was this thing that you know, that the company he set up, the consortium they set up, where they did some structure and they sent some money, some oil money back, and there was some architecture, some roads were built and stuff. He hasn't given anybody a free hand this time around. His deputy is in a better position to do things. You can see the first time he stepped out, the deputy was signing some executive orders, and you will notice that all those orders are not even being obeyed in the airports and the seaports. So we still have the same problem.
What do you think is responsible for that? Because the constitution is clear on that. We don't want to belabor the constitution in the sense that when the president is not, when the president is away, it is an automatic thing that his vice will pick up his job and be doing it. So what do you mean by that? Most of the executive order he signed are not operative. Are you saying they're not operative or they are not working?
I will begin by saying that the sad thing about Nigeria is that 52% of the revenue goes to the center, and the people who are at the center are less than 200,000. All the states are sharing whatever is left, probably sharing 46 or 34%. What does that do? 52% of the revenue at the center is shared by less than 200,000 people. Probably if you want to add the army and you add the police, and then you have the civil servants who are frittering away the money at any slight excuse. We're not going to get anywhere that way. And one thing that people need to know, one gentleman came on television, said if there's a restructure, a lot of the ores are in the north. The south is probably going to use his brain, but Maiduguri is supposed to have the area, almost the largest amount of uranium in the world. So what are we talking about? There's really no need for oil. And let us restructure. The UK has a minimum of 34 police units. Nigeria has only one. Only one. What's the point? And if you look at the crime rate, the police brutality is 300% or 3,000%. You cannot go to
Nigeria.
Yes, you cannot go to the police and report anything and get anything done. There's no way, and that's part of the unemployment. If you had regional policing, that if you have a state, the government will be too powerful. But regional policing, then you have a police service commission for each region, and there's enough to go around, more than enough to go around.
You mean as it is done in some civilized countries, advanced country like here, because there also there are boroughs here,
yes,
that they have the local surveillance people who support the main police force here.
Right.
You understand? And they work in tandem. They work together. So are you thinking? I mean, are you saying is?
I will give you an example. My first job with Southwark was as finance assistant. Any voucher on my table had to be paid within 30 days. If it doesn't pay within 30 days, we must have a good excuse. The contractor can write to us, giving us 7 days notice that his solicitor will take us to court. And in the courts, the council and the individual are equal. It's not a question of the share council and nobody's going to get anything done. The council property can be seized. The council is equivalent to an individual. It's not treated as a hyper listen. So there's a rule of law. So everybody thinks, and then there's a synergy between the private sector and the public sector. So things get done.
Rule of law. What do you mean by rule of law? Do we need rule of law in Nigeria? And what does the rule of law? What's the rule of law going to do?
You know today that if you go to a Nigerian court, although things are supposed to be changing, you are going to be in court indefinitely, probably 7 years, 6 years, and you're going to pay your solicitor. You're not going to get anything done. Over here, if you look into a window, you look at the property on a Monday, something else is there, maybe, and the tenant is giving notice. By Friday, the interior decor has changed and business is moving on. They don't do things like that, you know. We need to move. We cannot continue doing the same thing we have done for almost 50 years and get different results. I will say it again. We cannot. The UK has close to 40 independent units of police forces. Independent. We have only one. The Inspector General is the god, and that's not how to do things. We need to go regional.
How do we change this?
We need to restructure. We need to restructure. Buhari is a centrist, with all due respect. He is a man who believes in one federal thing, but people are suffering. There's too much suffering, and we cannot wait indefinitely. And I need to say one thing. Nigeria is on the edge of a cliff. Countries like Yugoslavia and Co have broken up. We have no choice. We are going to break up. If we don't, or we are going to restructure. But the question is, do we want to do it violently, or do we want to do it while we are still ready to talk? It doesn't take much to sit down and talk. They have done some paper in 2014. If we follow all those things, almost all, except the issue about having 54 states, because I mean, a state having too many states is itself a waste of administrative expense. But we need to have proper local authorities, proper local governments.
You mean where the grassroots, where the people that need services of governance? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the politicians who come to this country do not go to the federal government or the central. They go to their local boroughs. The politicians who are even come here, who flee here, who come here in a hurry, or who are in exile, they knock on the local authorities' doors. So it's very simple.
That's where governance starts.
Yes. You know your local authority chairman, you can knock at his door. The local authority chairman in this country earns more than the prime minister. The prime minister may have more powers, but local authority chairman earns more than the prime minister. Local governments can determine their salaries. If you are an accountant, you have your PC, you have your desk, you work as a professional. Things are done the proper way.
Mr. Awokoya, all what you are saying sounds so good. What is the problem? Why are we not having things like this in a civilized country, well endowed with resources, both natural and brain and everything? Why are we having problem to install, to have that kind of thing in place?
What we are practicing is Alibaba and the 40 thieves. We have been doing that for too long.
Alibaba
and the 40 thieves. That's what Nigeria is. We have been doing that for too long. And the government before this one, under that government, there was too much of theft, unprecedented theft. We have little to show for it. We have so much oil and nothing is being done. And I can say with all due respect that I am sure the present minister of, the man Fashola, has been doing a good job. And in spite of what he has done, we are still in darkness, which means we need to restructure. The amount of waste in Lagos is enough to generate electricity for Lagos itself. So, if at all, you can then take the rest of the power to other parts of the country. We need to move ahead. We can't continue to do things in the same way. Look at NIPOST. If you go into the UK post office today, there are a minimum of 50 products. You can get gift vouchers. You can do recorded delivery. You can do all sorts of mail. That itself is money.
We're talking about this
NIPOST. Yes.
A couple of days ago, I watched, I saw it on television.
Yes.
The Postmaster General.
Right.
Can't remember his name now. He was having these ambitious plan.
Yes.
Do you think the way postal businesses work here, do you think we can do something similar in Nigeria?
The very first thing that was pointed out to the vice president when he came to office, that's Yemi Oshibajo, was the fact that the people who are in NIPOST and NEPA and Co cannot be in the same market with the people they are competing with. NIPOST can vet, and then the other people do their own business, do the business. But NIPOST cannot be disbursing stamps and then competing with couriers. No, it's one or the other.
You're talking a good example like a BT in the UK, who owns all the.
Yeah, but BT. Remember that BT has divested, although it hasn't given everything up. But BT does not do the monitoring. If you report BT, last year I think they were fined for misbehaving. Look at today now. We have Dangote. He's doing well, but I think we need an antitrust law, because somebody is having too much money too much money is being pushed in one person's direction, you know. So it doesn't help matters.
You keep taking me to many areas of governance that I know. Are you telling me that the anti-law settings is not in Nigeria?
If it is in Nigeria, it is not being practiced. The antitrust is. If it's in Nigeria, it's not being practiced.
Why? Why are they,
I don't know. I remember there's value. I will never forget that. I remember going to a particular, I will not mention where Sonny Ade was playing, and he was talking about Sonny Ade, and he was describing Dangote as Seriki me sugar, Seriki me cement. What else is left? If you're one particular, all of that.
Dangote, yes sir. Dangote is Seriki of everything, because we have a situation where one person will start business with you, and before you and him about to order, bring in or take something out, he's already enjoying 25%.
Yeah, that's not proper. That's part of
why
the problem.
Not?
That's not proper. That's not proper.
Why not?
No, but I mean, are we doing? Is it business of favoritism? That's why I keep talking about Alibaba and the further things. We have so many. Okay, there was a guy who was complaining on television or about internet a few days ago, talking about contracts being awarded to the Chinese. Why do we have the Chinese being given contracts when we have Nigerians, young Nigerians, unemployed and unemployed, looking for jobs? What does it take? I mean, bitumen is a very simple thing to do, make roads. And if we don't have our own people building bridges and roads, then where is the practice going to come from? 57 years after, we're still doing all those things. And like somebody else said, all these contracts are being given so that the politicians can collect their own kickbacks. For goodness sake, we need to move away from all this. But the other issue, or one of the most important issues, is the issue of correct taxation. There must be proper taxation. Yes.
How do you go about that when you have an average out of every 10 Nigerians, is about 7.5 of them are into own business, street hawkers, they do their own business, and they are not registered. They're not on the list of the statistics that's supposed to be used to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people are registered. They have a permanent. How are you going to implement correct taxation?
No, I've already said that in the UK, census is done 24/7.
Census?
Yes, the census.
Do we have census in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, we only practice it maybe once in every 4 years, and what we are still using is 63 figures. We have not moved away from those figures.
So we're just recycling that figure.
We are just using figures left by the British. We're not using anything. I mean, how can you say, if you look at the entire West Africa, start from Mali or whatever, all those countries, the Sahelian area has 3 million, 4 million, then it gets to Nigeria and it quadruples, for goodness sake. Well, what's that? How did that happen? We are using false figures, and we need to move away from that.
So, the way you are saying it, Mr. Awokoya,
yes,
is sir. Like we might, in fact, at the end of the day, if a proper census is conducted, are you trying to say that we might not even be up to 100 million? At
all. I doubt it. I very much doubt it. That I can contest. I mean,
are you sure?
I'm very positive about that. I doubt if we are 180.
Is it the same argument some people will say? Ordinarily, there are more people in the coastal area,
of course,
than the.
Of course,
but we have the.
We also need to have a population policy because we're having too many kids. Because that's because one of the reasons that we have too many children is because there's no power, so there's no recreation within a home. I mean, once the light is off.
So the only recreation is the one you are talking about.
That's what it looks like. But like I'm saying, in the UK and other countries, you have census being done on a 24/7 basis.
Well, how do they do that?
They knock on your door on a Monday. They give you a form to fill. If you don't fill it, or if you fill it, they still come out on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, quarterly. At least and they have a group of people who are knocking on doors, picking up information, and this information is cross-checked. It's not that you now say you want to do census and then nothing is done for a whole week or 3-4 days, and the money is lost, and then they come back and then the figures are altered, and they say you can't go into so because there's PUDA and stuff like that. No. These things are done,
But we have been successfully planning economy of Nigeria without, well, I'm not going to say accurate, because at least for me, the population of Nigeria is about 180 million.
Supposedly.
So are you saying we cannot effectively plan or do any, we cannot be prudent, we cannot be judicious in spending money if we do not know how many of us are living at Agege or living somewhere in Sokoto? Is that what you are saying?
Can anybody justify the fact that at the center they have 52% and we have nothing to show for it? 52% of money being gone from oil is at the center, and you have different areas, different states, different having nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. You have the police. I mean, take for example, the policeman is supposed to be paid in any country, in a decent country. If it's the 20th day of the month, the policeman will know that, oh, this is my salary. He doesn't have to go begging for it. It's not as if a budget is taken, and at the minute the budget is taken, the guys at the top have drawn down most of the money, and then everybody else is fighting over bits and pieces. It doesn't do anything. And look, I'll give you an example. Lagos State is doing very well, supposedly. But if Lagos State does not liaise with the states around it, Ogun and Co and Osun, so that the influx reduces, then it's going to be a waste of resources. People, I mean, the present governor is supposed to be, I mean, refurbishing the Oshodi Road. He hasn't done anything about the railway line. For goodness sake, everywhere there are alternatives in this country. If there's a problem on the roads, you have the underground, you have the waterways, you must have alternatives. There are 5 bridges that cross London. We have only 3. And Boko Haram is probably aiming for the third mainland bridge. So what do we have? We must have alternatives in place. And it doesn't look as if Lagos State is thinking about the resources. They have plenty of resources at their disposal, but they are not thinking, in that direction. We should have railway line by now, so that a person in Ibadan, they awarded a contract under Jonathan. Nothing has happened to that road. The Lagos Ibadan Expressway, the railway line sitting right beside it, is 50 minutes from Lagos Ibadan, and up to now that railway line is not existing. Nobody's saying anything about it.
Well, I want to disagree with you based on what I saw.
Yes. On
Nigerian television,
right,
or on Nigerian newspapers, that the railways is now up and running
in the north, not in the south. In the north, and remember that the southeast was saying that they were being pushed out of it, and whereas the revenue is coming from the southeast. There's beans in the north, there's onion, all those things. The biggest problem about us is storage. We don't have storage, and the biggest why we don't have storage is because there's no electricity. Somebody brings a bunch of plantain to you on Monday, by Wednesday it has rotted away, and then the price of my plantain goes up again. In Brazil,
there's no way to harness.
Yes. In Brazil, they store yam for 3 years. 1 yam. We should have moved on beyond that. IITA was doing very well in the past. We don't hear anything about them anymore.
Mr. Awokoya, the ongoing thing in Nigeria now is most of what we already discussed, and part of it, then again, is popularly known as restructuring. It's very interesting to note also that the country is divided. To what different level, I don't know, but I'm saying that substantial part, some part of the country are saying, what exactly are you talking about restructuring? What do you want to restructure, and why do we need restructuring? So we are divided. Which part of the restructuring do you believe we should restructure, and if so, what should we restructure, and when should we restructure?
Like I said, we are on the edge of the cliff at the moment. We have about 20 million people unemployed. And these people, some of them their parents were not even employed as well. So you have at least 2 generations.
How do you come about this figure? You just said it that we don't have
we don't need to have.
We don't have a credible censor. How do you come? For all I know, maybe the unemployment in Nigeria is not more than 1.2 million.
Why do you say that?
I don't know.
If you go to the airport today, why are there touts? If they have jobs, they would not be touting.
Are there no touts in civilized countries?
I will tell you another annoying thing. If you look at the Nigerian airport today, it operates for only 8 hours, whereas it should be operating 24/7. So
Nigerian airports.
Yes, and all our airlines, the local air are dead. If they're not dead, they're comatose. So what's the point? And you have foreign airlines coming in and making a profit all the time. But the Nigeria airport is running 8 hours. It should be 24 hours. Economies of scale. That's where an airline will be able to make profit and you take people. You don't necessarily, I mean, if you can get a flight at 1 a.m. to go to Ibadan or go to Kano, you leave the party at 4 a.m. and you go. But why must we do things the hard way? That's one thing I don't like about this system. There's a love to go around. It's a land of milk and honey. We have no excuse.
An average person will now say to, well, what's Mr. Awokoya talking about? Because if I don't feel secure, why do I jump in the car from Abule Egba? I want to go to the to airport, Murtala Muhammad Airport, to embark on a journey to Yaoundé or to go to Ibadan, whatever. I don't feel secured. So which one do you think you should come first? Security or 24/7?
With all due respect, security is food in the tummy. If you have enough food in your tummy, you will not go and steal the man's food next door.
I'm trying to refer to area of Boko Haram and some other area.
Yeah, but if you have security, if you have food in your tummy, you're not going to steal anybody's. I mean, even before you even think about theft, you think twice. Why do you want to have so much money spent on ammunition and you have people walking around and they are almost dead because you want to defend a hungry man? What are you defending him with? I mean, there's no point defending a man that is hungry. He's dead already. You get the point. So I mean, we should stop thinking in that direction. We want to award so much money to the soldiers and stuff. No, everybody should be able to have basics. Just at least one roof over your head, some food, education for your kids, free education, if not free, close to free, and then for if we say we have 100 million people, I do not see there's enough market in that country to sustain us without even all we are doing today is importing. And the CBN governor gives me the impression that he did not read Lawal, the O-level Lawal, because in the UK today, in other countries, interest rate is below 5%. In Nigeria, 37% or 20. Yeah, if they say it's 23, by the time the bank adds their fees, it's 37. So which means that we are going to continue importing other than doing anything else. We don't have any electricity, and the only thing you can do is import and sell. That's all. We should move away from all this.
Mr. Awokoya, I still want to put it to you.
That
is all this what you are saying? Is that the reason why we should
restructure? We need to restructure. Do you know what annoys me every time I wake up is the fact that the people of the Middle Belt, their land is being taken away from them on a gradual basis. And every time the police go there after the havoc has been done. What does that tell you? It tells you that what the British left is back in place. The British left the core north at the hegemony of the army. They left the rank and file. They put the blended people below them. So these people cannot defend their land, and their land is being taken from them. It's fertile land. It's being taken from them, and nobody has any excuses. It's pogrom of some sort, and nobody's saying anything, and everybody's turning a blind eye. It is not right. We need to go back to that 6 or 7 zone system, and so that at least the governors will not have too much power. You will not have an army of occupation or a policeman from some other part of the country who doesn't know you or know your neighbor or know how you think and stuff like that. We need to move away from. We are on the cliff edge, and if nothing is done about it, we are going to get into trouble. The idea of Buhari resuming from health and going to sit in Abuja and expecting that things are going to be wished away is a joke. We are not people. We are very, very, very strong people.
So what should the president be doing?
We should be looking at that 2014 paper and trying to make that paper and use that paper. We need to restructure. We don't have any other choice. Look at other countries, Yugoslavia and co. Even India broke up at some point in time. Bangladesh broke out of it, and you cannot stop what is coming on. It's a tide, and the sooner we sit down and face this tide, the better. While we can still talk,
So otherwise,
it will be violent, and once the violence starts, you can't stop it. And even at the end of violence, you still need to come back and talk. So why not talk? What is wrong with talking? At the moment, these universities are supposed to be closed. The universities have been negotiating. The man who is vice president was once a lecturer. They have been negotiating for pay for the past 12 years. And the government has been playing snakes and other games with them. For goodness sake, what does it take? What is the big deal? There's so much. The universities are not really independent. If universities are independent and they had their own finance, and there will even be jobs within from universities. Look at the California, as they say. It's a state within a state. It is so much is being done around there.
And the 6th largest economy.
Exactly. You cannot say. I mean, it's brain work. Yes, it's our brain work, not oil. We need to move away from that, and we need to stop sitting in darkness. There is no reason why we give Niger Republic electricity uninterrupted till today. We gave Ghana for a little while. I don't know what's happening in Ghana, but Niger has had.
That has been going on for almost about decades now.
Yes, 30 to 40 years uninterrupted power supply, but the Nigerians don't have. Why must things, and look at everything that Fela has said is valid to date. Why we should be able to move away from all of this. We should be able to move away.
I've heard you. All these reasons are now available. That reasons why we should restructure. But when should we start restructuring? Because it's still an issue.
Like I said, it is
today or yesterday or when should
like now we should restructure. There are too many Nigerians hungry. People are going into the desert and disappearing. Nobody's telling them that it's much more difficult than that. And the government is not even educating people as to what you are going to, what it entails you if you leave the country. Because it is worse outside Nigeria than inside Nigeria. As bad as Nigeria is, yes, it is. But I mean, there's so much wasting away. It's the land of milk and honey.
Are you talking about our young folks?
Yes.
That are struggling to get to Libya, and isn't this also sad to hear that some of our young people will say anything but, everything but not in Nigeria, and they're willing to risk their life. What do you think? Is it all this what we've been talking about, that the problem of, is it something to do that the way we govern, the way governance business is done in Nigeria is making people want to run away? You started by saying that because of medical issues, you have no choice. Of course, which I can understand, because I say to people, there are three major things I'm relying on. I've been in Europe for about 47 years now, and I thank God that at least I'm covered in three areas. And these three areas, in fact, I extended it to some other two areas where I'm not going to discuss now. Three times feeding cannot be. I will not be failed in that. At least I'll get something to eat 3 times in a day here, even though that might be too many a time eating. You understand me? And then the area of having roof over
your head.
And my head is also to a large extent guaranteed. And the third one, which is also major for somebody like me, over 70, is Medicare. How many of our people have access to these 3 areas in Africa or in Nigeria?
Very little. In the first place, the fact that Buhari or the head of state has come abroad for medical treatment should tell everybody, that any government that is serious, that they should do something about the healthcare. But if the government cannot do anything to attract doctors here and the doctors in the US back to Nigeria, then the government is not serious. I mean, I have a group of classmates we meet. If there are 12 of us sitting down, 7 of them are doctors. If 15 of us are sitting down, 3/4 are doctors. If the government in power, any government in power, cannot do anything to attract its own doctors and faculty back to Nigeria, that government is not serious. That is the truth. Anything that they are saying, they can't pay salaries, they're giving all sorts of excuses, bringing out the money is being stolen. So what are we talking about? We're just going around in circles. It's a shame. And then you have missions, diplomatic missions abroad that don't even look after Nigerians' issues. The guys are there are just buying, if at all they get their own salary as well. I mean, we have civil servants who don't have any shame. I'm supposed to be Yoruba man. I don't find it, there's no pride in putting on the agbada anymore. Because everything is, mundane.
I see put my buba and shukutu any day.
I don't mind putting on the buba and shukutu, but I do not see the essence of putting on the agbada, because there's nothing to celebrate.
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
There's nothing to celebrate 57 years after. It's
so sad. Are you saying a 57-year-old man or woman that is still not able to crawl or be having problems? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that how can you have pensioners running after their pension, being asked to come from Aba to Abuja to get there or to prove that they are still alive? Why can't they leave that job to the banks to do it? It's very simple. These things are that a 2-year-old can even think about. 57 years after you are being told that, oh, you have spent 30 years in service, can you go to Abuja with your own money Go and get on the queue. Why, for God's sake? We need to move away from that.
Are you comparing that to the UK, where after you start collecting your pension, your pension can be paid to you at or anywhere in the whole world?
What stops us? The people who are doing all these things in the UK and the USA, most of them, quite a number of them are Nigerians. So what are we talking about?
Like implementing these?
Yes, the people who are carrying all this. So what difference does it make? All we have to do is just do the right thing. The most important thing we need is electricity. If there's electricity, then we go to other things. It will even prove who is stealing what, and rather than walk in darkness, you know. And there needs to be a synergy between the private sector and the public sector. Not that you submit a proposal to the government today and it is stolen, and you don't see anything get done, and then those civil servants do it behind your back, and then they buy 20 houses. There was a governor that had 53 houses. Nobody has taken it from him. Somebody has got 48. He's got his own house back. For God's sake, there should be proper taxation.
Okay, so there are three areas of restructuring I asked you. Now we have gotten the reasons why we should restructure.
Yes.
And I've also asked you, when should we start restructuring? And we both agree it should be now.
Yes.
We should start restructuring now. And you also mentioned the reasons why we should restructure, because we are in a situation where the last 56 years we've been we are in fact yet to start crawling.
Can I tell you one funny thing that's annoying? Yeah. The Chinese are in Nigeria and they are not going after the soil. They are going after the subsoil. They are taking what they need for the next 30 years. The Nigerian structure,
from us?
Yes. The Nigerian structure in place now, if we do not restructure, the Chinese will take everything we have. Because the government at the center.
We have a government. How is that going to be
possible? The Chinese man comes into Nigeria. He's supposed to get permission from the state, from the federal. The federal government hasn't had time from him. The state doesn't have any power. So he can't say, he just goes and gives somebody a few naira and he takes whatever he can take from the subsoil. Apart from that, you see all these Adire shirts. Some of them, the plastic comb you see today was the Oya made with wood. It's made by the Chinese. You also see the Adire being sold all over the place. These people come in, take our ideas, sell it back to us. We can't continue like that. We can't continue.
But that has been going on.
Yeah, but
I grew up in the age of when cocoa products are being used to make
chocolate.
But then again, also it suddenly happened that those products are taken away and then brought back.
Yes, so that's a Ghanaian man.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's part of it. There's a Ghanaian man who pointed the fact that we make 3 billion from cocoa. The Western world makes 44 from it making chocolate. Why must we continue? What do we go to school for if we cannot make any improvements? Nigeria, particularly the Yorubas, are the largest black ethnic group in the world, and they have huge resources. They have performed. They go to other systems. They do very well, and then we continue to sit in darkness and we keep giving one excuse after the other. Like I said, if we do not restructure, the Chinese will overwhelm Nigeria. They will put everything in their pockets, and what we have is a crash state.
Aren't you happy that we have a super minister who is in charge of energy in Nigeria? Because you said it at a time we don't have energy. We have a superman.
Yeah, but power has dropped. It was 4,000 when he came in. It's now 1,002.
But there's a superman in charge.
He cannot do much. He cannot do much with the structure in place. If you pour water in a basket, it's going to leak. So we need to. I mean, for goodness, you cannot have a model that was there in 1960, which lasted 6 years and was doing very well, and then we have this unitary stuff, and we're going along with it. And I'll tell you one other thing: the governors are not supposed to be that powerful. If you look at the constitution, the constitution doesn't even empower the governor; it empowers the local authority or the local government. It's the local government and the federal that the constitution has given powers. The governors are just usurping and giving contracts to their friends. And that's it. Some of them are doing good jobs. But if you have a local authority and you have a local chairman, local government chairman, and a few people, from practice, these people will turn out to be good politicians. And we also don't have independent candidates in Nigeria.
So if I think that has been amended now, you can run as an independent candidate.
Okay.
With the new amendment that has just been passed by the
which is good news.
House of Senate and all that.
Has that been signed?
Well, you said in 56 years we are still crawling. So I don't know who. Now, there's other one area which I think is a major issue.
Which is?
Corruption.
Right.
What do you think are causes of corruption?
If the people in government at the moment are fighting corruption and they are not putting anything beside it to support that corruption,
like
I mean, Now, if you say that a civil servant or a judge is corrupt and stuff like that, and you are not
police,
even that part, that's part of me. The police needs to be restructured. If those things are not done immediately, alongside corruption, fighting corruption, you are only going to drive corruption underground. It's just going to become more sophisticated to fight, But if you have proper taxation in place, if you own 50 houses, we know that those houses belong to you. It's on record. We are going to tax you. We tax you based on that. If I am in government, I won't say you shouldn't collect bribe, but I will tax you, because once they say, oh, so and so, before you know it, you won't ask for. You say you don't want any bribe, because you know that the taxation that is going to fall on you after that will finish you. So what's the point?
So that's another approach to fighting corruption.
Oh yes, proper taxation. Taxation has to be in place. At the moment, there are very few people paying tax. Very few people are paying tax, and well, you can't blame some of them.
I think not long ago it was said that about 660 something people are only paying tax.
Tax, right?
And I look at it and I say, isn't that sad? Now, what's your take on issue of recession? Because just only, is it today or yesterday, I heard it on the news that recession is now, we're out of recession. Let me quote them right. I don't want to be in trouble. We are now out of recession. You as a finance person who has a vast experience in the area of finance, and do you think, is it true that Nigeria is out of recession? And how do you explain to our viewers that these are the indices, these are the parameters to confirm that a country is out of recession?
Can I say two things? One thing that is annoying is that APC is talking about the millions that they are recovering, or the millions that is going. The poor man is only hearing the millions. He's not feeling it. We need to have things so that he can feel it. And time is running out on this government.
How can he feel it?
And the other issue is that the military and the police feel that they are above the civilians. The military feel they are above the police feel they are above the civilians. We cannot continue to run that way, government like that. You go to the petrol station, the military man wants to come ahead of you of the queue. Why? And the military ought to know that they ought to be reported to the police. They say the army wants to look at people's emails thing. Even if they look at your emails, they should be talking to the police. People don't know what the essence of the police force is. Everywhere in the world is the police that can arrest the military. Not over like Nigeria, where where there's a scuffle and nobody wants to agree the other person is superior.
Mr. Awokoya, but you and I know very well that in our country,
yes,
it's the police and the armed forces and the military that provide security. So if they want to take larger portion of the resources, who are you and I to say?
I already said it, that why are you defending a man that is dead? The man has no food in his stomach, and then you go and buy guns in America to look after him. What are you looking after him for? The man is already dead. If you cannot ensure that the man gets breakfast, lunch, and supper, and is well fed, then why do you have to buy guns to look after him? What are you looking after him for? And all of them, you can see the soldiers have been buying houses in Dubai and stuff like that. That's all that is going on. But the sad thing about the society is that the military believe that they are above board. They are supposed to be subject to the police. We need to re-equip our police force, and we need to have as many as 20 units, not just one.
I want to take you also through some area of concern. I study politics. I've been in politics for a long time now, right. And most of my commentary are on public and political areas. Now, political settings. What should be the role? Do you think the political parties, especially in Nigeria, should have a role, should contribute, should make governance better? Do you understand what I'm saying?
There's no saying that. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But what you find is these guys don't do anything other than campaign. They're talking about 2019 now. The minute 2019 comes in, they'll be talking about 2023. They are not talking about what they want to give the people. That is not an issue. It has never been on their table. And they don't have. Are
you saying they don't have ideology?
No. All those are just those are mirages. They don't look after the poor. We should have something in place that is justiciable, that people can take to court. That my children haven't gone to school. I have not had feeding. What is the big deal about 3 square meals? We have more than enough to go around. We have more than enough to go around. So we should be able to say, I can take the state government, or I can take the local government for not doing this, for not doing that. What does it take? And I also believe that the middle class or the supposed is there too much of greed. Look at the flood and stuff like that. Lagos has been taking money from one contractor or the other and selling land into the seas when nobody does impact assessment before they do anything. I mean, look at the governor. He said that nobody should hawk and there are no jobs. What do you want those people to do? You can't hawk. You cannot sit in the parks. You can't sit on the road. You can't sell anything and there are no jobs. So what do you want? You want to run these people mad or exactly what? There needs to be some proper thinking and the way forward.
Are you saying now that if area of social settings is properly taken care, like providing basic things for the poor, for the ordinary masses,
yes,
that will also help curb corruption?
Of course. You won't have a deluge of people going to the US embassy and giving them so much money to get a visa to go to nowhere. For goodness sake, the man knows that at least he's being looked after, or at least there's a basic. If you have a basic, then you can work from it. Look at the UK. It's a welfare state. You are entitled to bed, breakfast, and a roof. If you want anything else, you work for it.
Like I said before, yeah.
You work for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And everybody should get health. Look at now, they say, there is supposed to be health insurance. So much money has been stolen. Those people are not going to get punished at the end of the day. You have EFCC, it can't prosecute anybody or nobody, none of the big tigers are in jail. And we're going to continue like that, going around in circles. That's it. That's what's going to happen. But if there's a proper taxation and punishment to go along with it, then we'll move ahead. But like I said, we need to restructure. We need to the regional system was successful. So what's wrong going back to 7 zones? 7 zones at least, because you have the minority who their land is being taken from by the majority. And the police go, they are coming to, after the murder has been done and the havoc has been done, nothing has been done to these Fulani people. And there's so much, because there's been deforestation and stuff like that, we have been having issues of the ranching and stuff. If we do not sit down to get these things done, they're going to get into trouble.
Do you think it's fair to say because there's a report,
yes,
that not long ago came out to confirm that there are 2 areas of institutions that are the capital of corruption exercise in Nigeria. That is the police and the judiciary.
It cuts across. What about the civil service? Can you get anything out of the civil servant? Jobs are supposed to be advertised. I don't remember if jobs are being advertised.
How can it be the police and the judiciary?
No. I said it's much more than the police and the judiciary. It cuts across.
Is it even more than that?
It cuts across. It cuts across. The other ones are latent. You go to the civil service, you can't get anything done. I remember I'm going to a particular office. It was for VAT, for the numbering. I will not mention the name. The sticker on her desk from a new church was this big, and she was still ready to take bribe. So what are we talking about? We need to. And then the system here is stifling ideas. Look at Apple, look at Google. They are owned by young people who have sat down to think. And then you have a country that is stifling energy, stifling ideas, and they are continuing. And then in Nigeria we hail you. What are we hailing? What are we?
I must say also we have a large number of young entrepreneurs, in Nigeria, especially in the area of IT. We're also doing fantastically well, Mr. Awokoya.
Fantastic in what sense? Where are the IT companies? They are foreign IT companies. Yeah, you have the big 5 when it comes to telephone. Look at EchoNet, which has been bought. Talking about privatization, or Nitel was sold 5 times. Is that not shame? You are looking for foreign investors, and the foreign investor will go to one country where they sold Nitel 5 times. Up till today, where's Nitel? So what are we talking about? They keep looking for the foreign investor. The foreign investor they're looking for is the Nigerian, because there are Nigerians abroad who have ideas and who have capital and are willing to come in and invest. But you only want to do with foreigners because you can collect bread from them. We need to move away from all these models. That's the truth.
Put all this together, Mr. Awokoya.
Yes, please.
How do we move away? How do we achieve?
Which is why
all this gigantic thinking, believing that we have been doing it wrongly. How do we now have soldiers of almost about 180 million, and we now have very few handful of the same out of the people who are ruling them. How can they wrestle? How can they give orders and say, you know what, Mr. Governor, Mr. This, Mr. That, Commissioner this, and so you are supposed to be our employee. How can people get to that point? Because from all what you have been saying, from all your observations, assessment, and so on and so, I think that is really missing. How do we go about that? How do we get people to come back to the position of employer, giving employment to these people, because they're supposed to be servants of the state? Am I right?
Like I said initially, I say that religion is taking, people are believing their pastor, giving them miracle. We are having a generation whose psyche is different from hard work. People need to know that hard work pays. The vice president has told people already that it's not about praying alone. It also is work and pray. We need to believe in work and pray. You need to work
and pray.
Yes, you need to work.
So work first, then pray.
Yes, you can, if you like, you can pray before it, but
you must work.
You definitely. I mean, for goodness sake. I mean, it cuts across. Why do you have countries that are not even Christian that are doing well? It's got nothing to do with religion.
Do we have any?
There are quite a number. Saudi Arabia and all those places. They have oil. They have. If you go to those places, you have basics. You will still get something to eat. You still get food. And I mean,
but they are very small countries you are talking about, Mr. Awokoya.
It is not the size. Even our size is good enough for us to not even import anything. We have enough resources to look after ourselves and not look at anybody else. America is a continent. America has a population of 350 and is 20 times Nigeria's size. But what America has, Nigeria has much more. Much more. For the size.
You think we are more blessed?
Oh yes. Oh yes. You throw a seed of tomato out, it grows on its own, doesn't it? You don't have to water it. Look at our soil. For goodness sake, you go to Plateau. I did my youth corps around that area. It's temperate. You can even grow apples there. You know, we have a system that is stifling the people. You know, nothing is being done, and then they're talking about unemployment. They're looking for how long are they going to look for this foreign investor? For how long? For how long are we going to look for him?
You still have not addressed the question of how do we turn the table? How do we get the majority of the people of the country to be in power? Yes, I appreciate that we delegate power to some of all our rep.
Yes,
but still does not take away the right of the ordinary people to be in charge. That I employed you to do a job. You understand me? Legislate, do this and do that. Still does not mean you should be overloading us and depriving me all the benefits I'm supposed to enjoy from the dividends of democracy. Again, the question is, how do we get the majority of the people to get back to power?
The people in power are getting too much money. If they are not careful, if they think that they can continue and violence sets in, then everybody will be losers, apart from they themselves. So people, I mean, at the moment you have a governor, we don't need an executive governor. What we need is a ceremonial governor, if at all.
A working governor.
No, it's a ceremonial governor because the local government is supposed to have the powers. The government, the local government, Ikoyi, or you know, all those things. And then I don't believe that we should have drainages, I mean gutters. We should have closed ones so that people are not throwing things and inside the gutter and all that stuff. But talking about Nigeria, there's so much wealth around. Look at the number of private universities. People, even those universities, by the time they do research and stuff like that, there's enough to go around. And if, like I said, if the country does not restructure, the Chinese will take everything under our soil and nothing will be left. Nothing will be left. It will just be an appendage. You have a country, look at the interest rate, it's 23%. Add the bankers fee, the banking fees, almost 37%. All the Western countries, their interest is below 5 or 10% now. And those are countries that are industrialized already. Not to talk of a country that is just import oriented. For goodness sake, why is what is the governor's excuse for keeping interest that high? There's no reason to.
I want to ask you again. My understanding, the answer I'm waiting for, the answer I'm expecting you to give me.
On what?
You are yet to give me, Mr. Awokoya. And that the question again is, how do we change this ugly, very unpleasant situation? Because as it is, we have a situation where very few of us are ruling us, dictating, calling the shots, dictating the tune, making millions of Nigerians
to suffer. Yes.
Taking away with taking away the largest, not even willing to share. Because if they're willing to share, there should be provision to make sure that at least minimum the salaries are regularly paid. Police get their rights. Everybody, the children go to school. There's power. There's energy. Good roads, housing, and all. None of these are available from all what we have been talking about.
Agreed.
Now again, I want to ask you, how do we change this trend?
That trend is going to change, but the question is, do we want it to be violent or do we want it to be non-violent? That's the issue, because there are too many people around, hungry, and look at, I mean, for goodness sake, are we deaf and dumb or what? The people are, I mean, there was armed robbery, there is kidnapping. I mean, what is left? We are moving towards anarchy, and we are moving very, very, very fast. And the sooner people sit down and rectify things, the better, because everybody has seen that it doesn't matter how rich you are. If you leave so much for your children, they are going to either smoke cocaine or whatever. So why do you need so much money in your barrels or in your this thing? So let everybody have a decent thing, and if you want to be rich, that's up to you. But at least the basics must be there, and those things are in the constitution. It's just that these people there have not made it justiciable. You should be able to take your government to court that, oh, I am entitled to this, I'm entitled to that. Why can't I have it?
That's exactly what I'm saying. All these, according to our discussion, is all are in the constitution.
Right.
But we now have some few people that usurping the system.
Yes.
They creating a haven for themselves.
Agreed.
And again, I want to ask, because the time is not on our side. Again, I want to ask. So, how can people take power back? How can they take? Because these people, from all this preaching, whether via church or mosque or whatever, it looks like they don't even care. They keep siphoning the money. They keep keeping the corruption among themselves. They don't care what happened to someone in Agege. They don't care whether a children in Maiduguri go to school or not.
APC.
They don't care where it is very easy for Boko Haram to provide the welfare, the need of an average Almangere. You understand me? They don't care. You know. So again, how do we change this trend? How do we get power back to the people? How do we get them to understand? Say, Mr. Awokoya, you are one of them. You cannot continue like this. How do we do it?
One of those ways.
It has to be 1 minute now, because
one of those ways is independent candidature has come back, has come into force. So if the independent candidature comes, we might get to some things will get done.
Okay.
But APC is described as all promises cancelled. PDP is described as people deceiving people or people destroying people. So we don't really have much alternative on the ground.
APC,
yes.
All promises cancelled.
Yes. PDP, Papa deceiving Pekin, people destroying people. You know, that's all you have. You know, it's Alibaba and the 40 thieves as usual. But like I say, if the thing is not peaceful, it will be violent. So we need to sit down. The government needs to sit down and move ahead and get things done. Buhari will get a lot of credit if he just allows his vice to run and sits back. That's all.
I want to thank you very much, Mr. Awokoya, for honoring us to come on Heritage TV online, to come and share your thoughts with us, and also talk about cheating issues, problems that are facing the country. And I have no doubt in my mind that we will have a need to call you back one more time.
Thank you very much.
Enjoying your time. We appreciate your time also. So viewers, this is where we are going to deliberately, because of we want to get so many information out of our guest tonight. We did not go on break, you know. I want to thank you for viewing, and until next week, Tuesday, when one-on-one with OtunbaHOO will be showing you another guest. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.